thank you very much to the organisers for inviting me to speak at this lovely meeting. We all really look forward to it, those of us who are based in Nepal, to get the opportunity to interact with you all. So today I'm going to present a paper on the fortification of rice and the impact that fortification has on dietary adequacy in Nepalese diets. So at the beginning, I'd just like to, in particular, acknowledge my colleague from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, that's Helen Harris-Fry. We're drawing very heavily on data sets collected by her, and also she has done the majority of the analysis that I'm going to be presenting today. So why fortify rice in Nepal? Well, we all know, and we've been talking already about how diets are deficient in micronutrients, and we also know that intra-household allocation of food and of nutrients is also inequitable. Anemia and other micronutrient deficiencies persist in Nepal, and a nutritionally adequate diet is unaffordable by many. So fortification of a staple food can improve diets affordably without requiring people to change their behaviour. So with the view that fortification could overcome micronutrient deficiencies, improve health, reach those that are not covered by other interventions, deliver micronutrients consistently and safely, and build on existing technology and infrastructure. We've gone ahead and done some analysis of some pre-existing data sets which we have. So how would rice be fortified? Well, for those of you who don't know much about fortification, the way that it's done is that tiny little kernels that look like rice kernels are made out of rice flour with fortificant mixed in, and then they're blended using some technology like that shown in the picture with ordinary rice. So the government of Nepal is working with the World Food Programme on a programme of rice fortification and in the process of signing an MOU. And the plans are to formulate a rice standard, and this research is actually informing that formulation of that standard. Then introducing blending equipment into the Nepal Food Corporation rice mills, and then fortifying the rice in the social safety nets to start with a view to distributing those in the Nepal Food Corporation target areas. And those areas are shown on this map. I won't go into it because we don't have time, but you can see the top blue section there. That's Province 6. That's where most of the target areas of the Nepal Food Corporation are, as well as Bajra, just next door. So the design of our study is we've used a modelling approach. So we're using two data sets. One is the individual dietary recall, 24-hour dietary recall data set from the low birth weight South Asia trial, where we were looking at the diets of pregnant women, their mothers-in-law, and their male household heads. And the second is a more nationally representative data set, which is the Nepal Household Annual Survey for 2014 to 15, and that's using 7-day recall at a household level. So the analysis approach that we're taking is we're using nutrient composition values with we've compiled a Nepal-specific food composition table, and then we're estimating the intakes of different family members. And the way that we are looking at the fortification is we're taking the purchased portion of rice, so not all the homegrown rice, because we don't envisage that rice will be fortified at home in the foreseeable future. So we're taking the purchased portion of rice in the diet and then swapping the food values for ordinary rice with the food values for fortified rice. And we've looked at the overall nutrient intake, the probability of adequacy of individual nutrients, also the mean probability of adequacy of the diet overall, and then we're comparing that between different family members. So looking at some of our results, first of all, the rice consumption is high. We find, on average, across Nepal, 314 grams per day, and of that, 150 grams are purchased rice. And in the annual household survey, 98% of the population had consumed rice in the last 7 days, and 53% of them had consumed purchased rice. And if we look at the different bars here, the blue bars are all rice and the red bars are the purchased rice. So although rice consumption is highest in the Terai, purchased rice consumption is higher in the mountains and in the urban areas, and also in the Nepal Food Corporation priority districts. So we expect those are the areas which will benefit from the food fortification. And if we look by province, you can see that Province 6 has the highest proportion of purchased rice, and then provinces 5, 3, and 1 would be the next candidates. So looking at the probability of adequacy of the fortifiable nutrients in rice, we've got 3 different colors of bars here. So the palest bar is the diet with unfortified rice in it. The bright orange middle bar is the diet of all households, including those that are eating homegrown rice only. And then the darkest bar on the right is the diets of those households that purchase rice. So you can see that for each of these micronutrients of niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin A, thiamine, folate, vitamin B12, iron and zinc, all of them increase in adequacy as the diet is fortified. The poorest increases in iron, which because it's harder to get adequacy of that. But all the others achieve 80 or 90% adequacy after the fortification. So this slide is using our low birth weight South Asia trial data. So we've chosen to present the diet of the pregnant women because they are the people with the lowest adequacy usually. And you can see the similar kind of pattern, although, and you can see just how low the adequacy of folate, B12, iron and zinc and vitamin A are in the normal diet of pregnant women. So when you add the fortification in, you see a big leap up in all of those micronutrients. And the mean probability of adequacy increases from 0.38 to 0.75. So a big improvement there. So what happens to the equity of access to nutrients when you fortify the rice? Well, this is showing the mean probability of adequacy. That's the adequacy of the diet as a whole for pregnant women, their mothers-in-law, and their male household heads. And you can see that the palest bar on the left, the pregnant woman has increased from 0.38 up to 0.75, so nearly doubled in adequacy. Whereas the male household head was nearly 60% already and has gone up to 85%. So proportionately, the pregnant woman, the person with the least adequate diet, is getting a bigger increase from the fortification. And if we look at this in a different way, you can see that these bars show the difference between the adequacy of the male household's head and the adequacy of the pregnant woman. And taking folate as an example, you can see there's a very large number of percentage point difference between the adequacy of the man and that of the pregnant woman. So 64 percentage point probability points between the man and the pregnant woman. So when we fortify, that goes down to 24. And you can see a similar pattern for most of the micronutrients there. So proportionately, the pregnant women would be benefiting more from the fortification. So just in summary, rice is consumed widely in large volumes by the population, which means it's an excellent vehicle for fortification. This is going to be particularly beneficial to purchasers of rice and those who will be consuming social safety net rice. The fortification does improve dietary adequacy of all the fortified nutrients, and it improves the gender equity of access to nutrients. But we should remember that fairer sharing of micronutrient-rich foods is still needed. So it's not an excuse to just give the women some fortified white rice and keep them excluded from eating the tasty animal foods or vegetables. So I'd just like to acknowledge all my colleagues who helped very much with this work, and thank you very much for the opportunity.